Hello everyone, myself Michael Ravina, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering. The subject is CS8651 Internet Programming and the unit is Introduction to Ajax and Web Services. The topic is Web Services Description Language, WSDL. The WSDL stands for Web Services Description Language. It is a standard format for describing a web service. WSDL was developed jointly by Microsoft and IBM. The features of WSDL are WSDL is an XML based protocol for information exchange in decentralized and distributed environments. WSDL definitions mainly for to describe how to access a web service and what are the operations it will perform. WSDL is also one of the language for describing how to interface with a XML based services. Then WSDL is an integral part of UDDI, that is Universal Description, Discovery and Integration, and is also XML based worldwide business registry. WSDL is the language that UDDI uses. Steps in providing services. The following figure illustrates the use of WSDL. The first, a service provider describes its service by using the WSDL. This definition is published to the repository of the service. The repository could use UDDI and other forms of directories can also use. A service consumer issue one or more queries to the repository to locate a service and determine how to communicate with the service. The next part of the WSDL provided by the service provider is passed to the service consumer. This tells the service consumer what the request and responses are for the service provider. Next, the service consumer uses the WSDL to send the request to the service provider. So the service provider provides the expected response to the service consumer. The next one is the WSDL document. A WSDL document defines services as collection of network endpoints or ports. In WSDL, the abstract definition of endpoints and messages is separated from their concrete network. Next one is the WSDL elements. WSDL breaks down web services into three specific identifiable elements that can be combined or reused once defined, that are types, operations and binding. A WSDL document has various elements, but they are contained within these three main elements. The WSDL contains the elements are definition, data type, message, operation, port type, binding, port, service, documentation, import. These are the important elements used in the WSDL. This is the document structure of the WSDL. The WSDL element inside the document structures, the WSDL elements are present. Next one is the consuming a web service. A web service can be consumed by a client application. There are different types of client application can consume the web service. In today's software environment, almost every application needs a web service to enhance its functionality. The important advantage of these web services is in the form of XML format, which is consumed by the different types of clients. A client application discovers a web service and then uses the service provided by the web service. This process is known as consuming a web service. Database driven web application. Web services enable application to application interaction over the web. For this, it works in the following two directions. First one is accessing database resources to the web service, resources as a web service. Then second one, consuming external web service from the database. Using Oracle database as a web service provider mainly offers the following features are enhances PL bar SQL web services, exposes Java in the database as services, provide SQL query, web services, enables DML web services. This is the Oracle database web service provider. Then this is the Oracle databases web services consumer. Here the storage, indexing and searching capabilities of the relational database can be extended to include the semi-structured and non-structured data, including web services. By calling the web services, the database can track, aggregate, refresh and query dynamic data produced on demand. Then next one is a web service data sources. This is a virtual table support. Virtual table, that means to access data that is returned from a single or multiple web service invocations, create a virtual table using the web service data row. This table lets the user to query a set of return rows as tough if they were a table.